bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fiend Podcast with your hosts, Zay, Young Vander, and Bro Joe.
Welcome back to the best fantasy football podcast on the air, the Fantasy Football Fiend Podcast, presented to you by Manscaped. I'm your Jose, the Fantasy Football Fiend himself. I got my bros with me, the Fantasy Phenom Young Vander. Holla at the people.
Fantasy Fiends, what's going on out there?
And the rookie aficionado, Bro Joe. Holla at him.
What's going on, Fantasy Fiend family?
Yo, we have officially made it. By the time you guys either watch or listen to this show, there will be football that evening. So we're going to make sure that we go through your matchups, make sure that you know who to kind of stay away from, who you want to lean into as far as start sit is concerned. We're going to go through your news and notes, and then we're going to have our first episode of Rapid Fire 10 for the season. But let's go ahead and get started with your news.
And now your fantasy news.
All right, so first up in news, Joe Burrow is good to go. So there was a little bit of angst there for a little bit, wondering whether or not that calf injury was going to keep him out, but it looks like he's going to be good to go. So Cincinnati is going to be at their regular speed, or at least we hope. Do we think that he's completely over this injury, or is this just I'm good enough to go? What you got for me, Joe?
I think it's just good enough to go, man. They just really being super precautious, with this. But he fine, man. That's the shortest answer.
Joshua Dobbs looks like he's going to end up being the starter for Arizona over the rookie Tune. Does this kind of surprise you a little bit, Vander?
It's kind of surprising being that he just arrived. But the one thing that's not surprising is two things. Number one, he's already familiar with the offense. Right, and also the draft capital that was given up to get him. So when you spend, what was it, as a mid-round pick for a guy like Dobbs, then obviously you look at him to start. So I wasn't really surprised when I seen the draft capital that they sent to bring him in. So
one thing that was a little surprising to me, Zach Moss, barring a setback, looks like he's going to take a few snaps in week one. He's going to be sharing the rock there with Deion Jackson. They did pick up, who did they pick up this week? James Robinson they picked up. I think they gave him a workout, but did they officially sign Robinson?
I don't think so.
They didn't. Okay, so that may be even more of an indication that Zach Moss is going to be back from a broken arm. I didn't think that you can heal a broken arm and be ready to be hit on said arm within just a matter of a few weeks, but it looks like Moss is going to be back. Are we trusting this backfield at all, or is this just too early in the season to go with just anybody that has a job? How are we feeling about this, Joe?
Yeah, this whole backfield is a full failure, man. Until JT get back, I ain't much to put it into it, man.
Miles Sanders is back from his groin injury, so it looks like he's going to at least get a couple of weeks in before he get hurt again. What's your prognosis this year on Miles Sanders, man?
I mean, it's a soft tissue injury, so those things tend to linger at times.
Right.
It's just, let's see. With the amount of money he was paid in the offseason, they brought him in to be the guy. What I mean? So let's just see how week one, whether they kind of ease him in or they give him a full load. So let's see.
Is Chuba Hubbard going to be a guy that you want to stash just in case? He didn't do too bad when he took over last year as far as, you kind of got him for free. But is that somebody that you might want to stash just in case, knowing how often Sanders gets hurt?
I mean, if you're the Miles Sanders owner, I guess. But I think we already seen what Cuba has to offer. He's not really like one of these premier handcuffs in the league. So he's not going to be RB1 numbers. Even if Sanders get hurt, he's not like an RB1 the next day. True. Like you think of one of these other guys. But so not for me. I mean, if you're a Sanders owner, of course, it's a good safety net. But other than that, nah.
Devon Achane, Miami's rookie, is back. Good to go. That was music to my ears. I have him in a couple of different leagues, and another guy that stays hurt, Raheem Mostert, he's the starter, but I don't expect him to get through the seasons, and I believe that Akane is going to be the next man up. So he's a guy that I believe could possibly be a premier handcuff. What you got on that situation, Joe?
I like it. To your point, they convinced though about Mostert, but like you said, just how injuries befall that whole entire backfield. I think it's a good space to get in on them now before November, because it could be one of those situations like you said. Even if Jeff Wilson come back, he might go right back because he get hurt at least a few times, a season. So I'm big on it too. I got him in a couple leagues now myself, so I think it's full go, and we got to get on him early. Definitely, we don't want to be with everybody else come mid November.
Don't be late to the party, basically. Treylon Burks is back. Well, seemingly at 100%, but all we can definitely say is the knee injury isn't going to keep him out of week 1. Does this change anything as far as Okonkwo or as far as Hopkins is concerned for you, Van?
I guess you can temper it a little bit. I feel the same about, Okonkwo that I did before. I mean, but being that if Burks was out, then of course these guys would get peppered with more targets.
Right.
So I guess you just bring it back down to where they were beforehand. But I think just business as usual. I mean, I don't think there's like one clear cut standout in this offense. I think week to week is going to probably change who leads this team in targets.
Kadarius Toney has no injury designation for the first time in his career. Tongue in cheek, but he's another dude that stays hurt. But are we putting any faith in Kadarius Toney, or is just another guy that's a matter of time before you can't depend on him again? What you got on him, Joe?
I just can't trust anybody in this offense because it's always a tale of the names, right? We hear Justin Ross, we heard Watson last year, or we heard Sky Moore. I'm gonna be naming the whole wide receiver group because everybody says big things about every receiver in this offense, and then Mahomes going to throw to each of them all the same and gets everybody involved in this offense. So Kadarius is a big name. Obviously, we know it's upside, but everybody's saying Sky Moore is going to surprise people. He's going to turn heads. They said that when they got Toney, and then we saw that, turned out. So I'm just kind of off the Chiefs wide receivers until somebody established themselves fully, so we know they entrenched in some type of role.
Another guy who's injury prone, Adam Thielen, is tending to an ankle injury. Between Carolina's offensive line and lack of talent, in as far as pass catchers are concerned, I don't really know how Bryce Young can have a successful rookie year. I just don't see it. But what are your thoughts on that Carolina situation, Van?
I mean, as far as success, I mean, compared to the rest of the league, it may not be like really huge fantasy success, but I actually like Thielen in his offense. I mean, because he's kind of like the tight end in a way. He's playing in the slot, but you know how a lot of rookie QBs, they tend to lean on the tight end.
Right.
I think he will be the guy that Young will actually lean on. You've seen a little sample of it in the preseason. And let's face it, Adam Thielen is a red zone target. He's been that in Minnesota for years.
But that's the problem, though. Like, you're leaning on a guy that's not going to be there. Like, I don't. When was the last time Thielen made it through a season?
Year. I mean, he's actually, he's another year older. So whether he holds up the whole year is one thing. But if he's in pads, I actually think Thielen is a solid play with his quarterback.
The only thing about Thielen that kind of scares me is starting him and then him not finishing the game.
Yeah.
It seems like he has little ticky-tack injuries all the time, and I just don't know. Especially you're going into the year with an ankle injury, like you said, though there's certain injuries that tend to linger, and those ankle injuries can be one of those.
He's an old man because as far as wide receiver age, he's what, 33, 34?
He's up there. Like he's at retirement age. Like
he's up there. So
he's at that. I'm taking one last check before I'm done. That's
but one thing about him, though, he like Chris Carter, man. All he catches touchdowns. I mean, his yardage might not be there, but that dude, he'll find the end zone for sure.
Yeah, if you got him and he has a good week 1, trade him. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he is going to be playing week 1. So you guys were spot on as far as the wrist injury was concerned. He had the surgery and everything, and didn't keep him out very long at all. As long as there are not any setbacks in the game or anything like that, it looks like he's going to be good to go for his rookie year. You had Terry McLaurin, who was diagnosed with turf toe. He's back at practice. I don't know if that means he's going to be a full go. That's another one of those injuries. Now, between turf toe, plantar fasciitis, things like that, they really just scare me. But it also, for me, puts Jahan Dotson in a much brighter light, because if for any reason Terry McLaurin can't go, Dotson is going to be a guy that you can kind of get for next to nothing right now. That could be, not necessarily a league winner, but a significant difference maker, if that makes sense. But which I got on the McLaurin situation.
Well, so it is turf toe?
It is. It was diagnosed as turf toe. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was like a sprain, but
nope.
Turf toe is serious. It's a serious thing. So I do love Dotson. Him and the quarterback do have some familiarity, correct?
Mm-hmm. The most familiar between how is
De'Ami Brown.
Because they played in college together. Yeah,
that would be a sneaky play if
he's basically free. I mean, you could probably get him off your waivers right now and see what happens in week 1.
He'd probably be a sneaky DFS play if Terry was sitting. But I like Dotson. But as long as Terry's on the field, if you drafted him already, I guess you gotta play him. He's still a stud. This offense is going to be, keyed around him. That's one of the first things that.
Or will he be a decoy?
I don't know. Terry a dog, but Terry a dog too now. So
he is.
Yeah.
That's one of my Buckeyes.
I don't think he's gonna be okay being on the field as a decoy. I don't think he'll buy that.
I feel you, but his big thing is speed. And I don't exactly know how much turf toe can affect that, but if he can't get past you, he's not like a D-Hop where he's just going to be snatching them with 2 people on him or nothing like that. So if he's, if he's not close to where he normally would be speed-wise, I'd be kind of concerned. Like, I don't know. Like, I
think straight line, he may be all right. I think the turf toe maybe comes into play when you're cutting, you know what I mean? So
got you. Okay.
It's probably in his best interest to get vertical with that toe.
We got Cooper Kupp that is looking at a second opinion with this bad hemi. And right now, it's looking like he may not go for week 1. I've heard everything from he's out to he's doubtful to he's questionable. But one thing that I do know is right now, I don't necessarily trust what he may be able to put out there for week 1. I'm almost at the point now where I'm thinking he may be better off taking a couple of weeks, making sure he's 100% good versus getting out there and then aggravating something and having to go on IR, which I also heard was a possible option. What have you heard on that update, Joe?
Yeah, man, we've all heard all of the above, and I think it's leaning to him being out week 1. I'm with you. Like, sometimes we mention age a lot on the show. This is one of the cases where this team is in a full rebuild, and you don't technically need him, this season unless he's completely healthy. I don't think they're going to be as competitive. They have nothing on defense to kind of support them being a great team. I think his second opinion is kind of alarming because now you got Skoranek, you got Ben Skoranek and Van Jefferson. We obviously know
you got the Higbees.
I love Higbee.
I'm about to say, he was targeted a lot last year. So if Kupp don't go, he should get a lot of targets. But if we know that, the defense knows that. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes too. And let's go ahead and parlay on over to tight ends. Travis Kelce was diagnosed with a bone bruise. So he's listed as questionable, which is much better than doubtful or out. But do we think that it is even possible that Kelce can be 90 to 100%? Or is he just questionable for the sake of, not giving away too much to Detroit before game time? Like, how do you feel about Kelce's situation, Vander?
No, I think it's possible he plays. Even his brother came out and said it. But this is more of a bruise. It's going to be about, the pain tolerance, the swelling, no structural damage. So that's the most important thing. And Kelsey's pretty tough. He's not a guy that missed games, even though he's been banged up in the past a little bit.
I think he's missed one game or something like that.
He always plays. So
yeah,
I think, they're just trying to get that swelling down and see how it looks tomorrow. But I mean, if I think it's a good chance he plays, to be honest with you.
But the second part to that question though, how close to 100% do you think he can be with this fresh bone bruise?
Again, I don't think he needs to be 100%. I mean, it's a bruise. You know what I mean? If it was something torn or something like that, then I feel different about it. But it's all about pain tolerance. So they may watch his snap count. Maybe they bring him in more towards the red zone, things like that. So I could see him suiting up and playing for sure.
Now, I'm going to go back to you again for this one, Vander, because there's somebody on your squad. George Kittle made it to practice today. Yesterday, he was working off to the side. We don't exactly know what the issue is, but he did get in a full practice today. Are you worried about his prognosis for the season? I know it seems like he's going to get in on week 1 based on the fact that he got in a full practice, but is this a guy, unlike Kelsey, this is a guy that has missed several games. So does it kind of scare you a little bit that he's starting out the season, already on the sideline, or is this just a precaution because they know that he can get hurt?
I think it's a precaution. I mean, if he logged a full practice, then that's all I need to hear. You know what I'm saying? It's Wednesday. When you hear guys logging full practice this early in the week, then they're pretty much
good to go.
But again, he's another one. Even though he has missed games in the past, these guys got to be hurt in order not to play.
Facts.
No,
they got to be injured.
They got to be injured.
Right.
They're gonna play hurt. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna play hurt, but they got to be injured. You know what I'm saying? In order not to be on the field. So he's another one of those tough guys where I feel like he'd be all right.
And that pretty much wraps up the news for this week. Let's go ahead and get into the first rapid fire 10 of the season.
All right, here we go, man. It's rapid fire 10, man. We got 10 quick questions, 10 quick answers. Who do I start? Week 1 edition. Let's get into it. Bryce Young or CJ Stroud?
CJ Stroud for me.
I'm gonna go Stroud too.
So they got the Ravens and Carolina plays Atlanta.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. The Ravens are not the Ravens defense of old, so they don't scare me.
They actually upgraded. Like they got Clowney now, right?
They did get Clowney. I forgot about Clowney.
And Queen, they got a couple guys where they're playing pretty solid.
I'm still roll with. It's what Carolina doesn't have versus looking at what the opponent has for me. So I'm gonna stick it out with my Buckeye.
All right, another quarterback. We got Anthony A.R. Richardson or the other A.R. Aaron Rodgers.
Give me Aaron Rodgers.
I'll say Aaron Rodgers because more often than not, Monday night games tend to put up a few more points than most others. So I think Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are going to try to come out there and show a little something, at least week 1, minimally.
We got A.J. Dillon or Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, easy for me. I don't think they're going to give Breece Hall a compliment of. I think they're going to work him in. He'll definitely get touches, but I think Dalvin Cook will be the primary back starting out. So for me, that's Cook.
I'll go with Cook, definitely.
Quit stealing my answers, Joe.
All right, we got Joe Boy, Isaiah Pacheco, or Madison, Vikings.
Oh, give me Pacheco.
I'm gonna have to run with Madison. I think Madison is just gonna have more attempts. There are a lot of running backs in Kansas City right now, and even Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, will get the ball a couple of times too. So I'm gonna have to go with the guy that's gonna get the most attempts.
I think the Kelsey news also determines how you see Pacheco deployed. I mean, if Kelsey misses the game, then I think he'll see a lot of touches.
Yeah, I can see that too.
All right, next we got Ezekiel Elliott or Deion Jackson.
I'm gonna go with Zeke. I think Zeke hit the end zone already.
I'm gonna run with Zeke. I same thing. I think he's going to be the James White, but also the goal line back. So he'll have dual roles in there. So I'm gonna run with Zeke.
All right, we got Van Jackson or Michael Pittman Jr.
Give me Michael Pittman. I think Michael Pittman can. I think he's going. I think he's going to do good this year. They're going to throw out a lot out of necessity, and I think it start week 1.
The word that you use that makes me pick Van Jefferson is necessity, because I don't think Cooper Kupp is going to go, and they can't depend on the rookie Puka, and ain't but so much you can do with a tight end. So I mean, I think he's going to get peppered with targets.
They got Demarcus Robinson too now. He's a new. I mean, this is my thing. I know a lot of people. I see a lot of people online like, "Oh, okay, Kupp is out. Van Jefferson, wide receiver 1." I'm like,
no, I ain't say that.
we've seen him play with Kupp out, and I haven't seen anything. Like Van Jefferson hasn't shown me anything since he's been there. You know what I mean? So
I feel you, but I don't think that they're gonna throw the ball a lot in Indy. Week 1, I think they're gonna try to protect the quarterback, the rookie quarterback. I think you'll see him run about as much as he passes, and when he does pass, I think it'll be a little bit closer to the vest. I can see your boy Mo Alley Cox having a good game. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one.
Okay, we got Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore.
Ooh, okay. Go ahead and give your opinion first, Joe.
I'm gonna go Sky Moore. I'm just going again. You gotta put a hand in the basket at this point. Pick one. I just think Sky Moore, to me, honestly, by what Mahomes is saying, he said look out, and so I'm gonna look out tomorrow, and I think he's gonna have probably 3-4 catches, take a tutty to the house, 40-yard bomb or something.
If Kelsey goes, I gotta roll with Toney. The slot receiver and the tight end occupy a lot of the same areas of the field, and I can see, a lot of what would have gone to Moore going to Kelsey. But Toney, as long as he's healthy, he's gonna get those 1 or 2 bombs that can literally make your whole fantasy week. So I'm gonna go with the guy that only needs to get 1 touch for a touchdown to make his fantasy week.
All right, we got Odell Beckham Jr. or George Pickens.
Give me Pickens.
Yeah, give me NFL young boy. I'm gonna take Pickens. I think Pickett is he's gonna make a come up just enough so that Pickens can actually look close to as talented as he actually is. So.
All right, and this is a question right here is going to depend on tomorrow's news.
Okay,
but we got Noah Gray or Greg DeLuch.
No offense. I do think Noah Fant make a comeback, but I think I'm gonna go with Greg.
Noah Gray, Kansas City.
Noah Gray.
Yeah, Kansas City.
Gray. Oh, give me DeLuch easily.
Yeah, Denver doesn't have very many pass catchers right now. Well, is Judy back, or is he still
Judy practicing?
He's practicing.
He practiced limited.
That's literally going to come down to whether or not Kelsey plays. But let's go under the assumption that Kelsey doesn't play. I don't think that Noah will get the same love that Kelsey will, and Doncic he's their guy, so they got to work him in at some point. He's one of their best pass catchers, as far as when you have to check down. So I think I'll go with Doncic.
And last but not least, Raheem Mostert or Christian Watson.
Flex, okay. Watson wasn't at practice today. He doesn't have an injury designation, so he might be ill or it might have just been, something personal or whatever. But I love Mostert until he get hurt, and he's not hurt right now. So I'm And matter of fact, I'm glad you brought his name up because that's a guy that I would kind of run with in DFS too, until he get hurt. So,
All right, so
Yeah,
that
I'm on Mostert too.
that concludes our rapid fire 10.
rapid fire 10. All right, so let's get into the matchups. So we're gonna give you the teams that are playing. We'll give you the spread. We'll also give you the over/under, which is kind of indicative of how many points could or should be scored according to Vegas. They're normally pretty on point. Thursday night game, we have Detroit and Kansas City. 52-point over/under, which is actually the highest for the week. And this started out with the 6.5-point spread, but now it's been lowered to 4.5, which kind of makes me think that Vegas knows that best case scenario, Kelce won't be 100% on point, or they're looking for Detroit to be a little bit better than advertised. Joe, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Tell us what you got on this matchup.
Yeah, man, I think this is going to be pretty interesting. I think too, what should factor into it is Chris Jones. I think that's the main thing. We already know what their secondary is,
True.
but without Chris Jones against one of the best offensive lines in football, I think it's barbecue chicken. I think, you got to think about Montgomery. Definitely got to think about Jahmyr Gibbs. And what was really getting me more and more intrigued is that they're talking about, like, y'all going to be blown away how we utilize Jahmyr Gibbs. I want to see what that looks like. I want to know what that looks like. Goff obviously is doing pretty well. I just like both of these players can target, between Mahomes and Goff can target 7 receivers. They go 7 down, and they got to rapport with each other respectfully. So obviously they both are great play. I'm liking it, man. I've said like Amon-Ra to obviously be a factor on this offense. This is a mainstay with that offense. Again, I'm gonna keep going to Sam Laporta. I think Sam Laporta can get it done and take advantage of this matchup. I think primarily, he's not gonna be asked to do any blocking. Ain't no surprise why they brought him over there with his skill set. I'm liking this matchup. I think also too we could see, is this a game of possession, because we already know you can't go in a shootout with Mahomes, because when Mahomes gonna get hot, when it's back and forth, Mahomes seem to want to go out there and put 300 yards up on somebody, 4 or 5 touchdowns. Can they play a time of possession? Play a game of keep away. We know Goff can go for 300 himself, but limiting the time of possession, can somebody be disciplined enough to do that on the Chiefs? We'll find out tomorrow, right? So I think that's my take on it for that matchup.
We got Tampa Bay going up against Minnesota. This one is a 45-point over/under, and Tampa Bay is getting 5.5 points in this matchup. What you got, Vander?
Well, you know what? This is a funny one. I actually like Baker Mayfield in this matchup. Minnesota's coming in one of the worst teams against the pass last year. Haven't really seen much being done.
You don't think getting Flores is going to change anything?
Flores can catch a ball. You know what I'm saying? Are the players
he's a pretty good defensive coach.
Any new players in the secondary?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about new players, to be honest with you.
They got the kid from the Cardinals, but it ain't noteworthy. I forgot to get the young man there. They got the corner from the Cardinals.
Yeah. I like Mike Evans a lot. I think Mike Evans is going to this is going to be one of the games like Mike Evans is going to be back introduced, because he's been taking a hit as far as fantasy drafts, things of that nature. So I could see the passing. Baker's going to surprise people this game. He actually played horrible all preseason, well, not preseason, but in practice. They were showing clips, throwing ducks, different things like that. But in the preseason, he actually is looking pretty solid, pretty efficient. And I think that's going to continue into this game. Of course, everybody's looking at Jettas. But I think they're going to slow him down a little bit. I don't think he's going to have his crazy breakout fantasy game. But I think it's going to be a close scoring game.
We got Tennessee going up against New Orleans. This one is a 41-point over/under and only a 3-point differential, and Tennessee's getting the 3 points. What you got, Joe?
Man, I don't know, man. I think we're looking at a team with the easiest schedule in football, and the Saints getting off to a good start against Tennessee. Um, Man, I still want Derrick Henry even against this style defense. This is a middling slash old defense. I do like what they did on defense, getting the kid Brees over there. I think long term he's going to be a phenomenal player. But as it stands today, I love this. I love this matchup for Derrick Henry. I think he still get busy on this defensive line. Going over to the Saints, like who don't you like, right? We can just sit here and name their entire offense. I think Jamal Williams is going to be his first start, with Kamara on suspension. I think fresh legs is always a little something good for the tire. Keandre should be healthy, but I think he's gonna get a bulk of the carries. And we seen he can do it both sides. He can be a bulldozer. He can get a few catches as well, and he's pretty efficient. I think you gotta like everybody. 'Cause I think we're gonna see a little bit from Michael Thomas. We know what Olave brings to the table. We know what Jawan can do as well. Carr got all his weapons. I love Carr in this matchup as well too. All his weapons are go.
We have Carolina going up against Atlanta. This is the second lowest over-under of the week at 39.5. And Carolina is getting 3.5 points. What do you like? What do you don't like on this one, Vander?
I think this game gonna be kind of ugly. I think you're gonna see some bright spots here and there, but as far as from a fantasy perspective, I wouldn't. This is one of those wait, watch, and see. Let's see what happens. Games. Of course, you like. I like. Of course, you got to play Bijan. You know, he's the guy.
Right.
Cal hits those guys, but this Carolina defense is pretty good.
Even without Burns, because they ain't paid him yet. And I don't know if he's gonna play.
Well, he came back to practice, so that's
okay.
He did practice, so that's a good sign that he may play. The secondary is solid. You know, I love J.C. Horn. He's one of the best corners in the league, very underrated. But I'm not. Let's see what Riddler is. Let's see what this new Riddler looks like, right? Again, Kyle Pitts, extremely talented, but are they going to throw this guy the ball? And Carolina's pretty good against the run. So, of course, I like Bijan. I like him moving forward throughout the season. But game one, not a big fan of him. And the secondary of Atlanta is really good. This defense got a lot better. They did sign some people in the offseason.
Facts, yeah.
Got my kid Terrell there. At wide receiver, at corner. So
right.
I think it's gonna be one of them kicker competitions. You know what I mean?
I can see it.
Real ugly. So
Young Hoku.
Yeah, and I think it's in Atlanta, right? So
this game is. Yeah, I want to say it's in. Who's the home team?
Yeah,
I want to say Atlanta might be the home team. I could be wrong though.
So they're gonna be inside. I think it's gonna be just like a kicking game.
Yeah, the Falcons are the home team.
Yeah, nobody I see offensively, fantasy-wise, doing nothing too explosive. Even though these guys got explosive players, I don't see anybody breaking out.
Next up, we have Houston going against Baltimore. This is a 43.5 point over-under, and Houston is getting 10 points. So Vegas likes this one to be a bit of a slobber knocker. What you got on Houston versus Baltimore? What you say, Vander?
Joe getting all the good games, man.
I'm telling you, man. But no, I think honestly, this is going to be a fair matchup. I think this is going to be easy for Lamar. I don't get me wrong. I love Houston's defense long term. I just think what they're going to be asked to do, because I think on the other side of it, I don't know if this is I think ideally this is a good matchup for Stroud. I think he played relatively well. The thing is, Marlon Humphrey isn't there. That Marlon Humphrey to me is the key catalyst to this team. They can have Mario Williams back. They can, they got Hamilton back there. But these cornerbacks are going to be asked to do a lot while Marlon Humphreys is readily, recovering, because he does it all. He moves all across that defensive backfield. So I do see areas of opportunity for Stroud to kind of be successful, but ultimately I think Lamar gonna get unleashed because he got all his weapons. With Andrews coming back, and I think J.K. Dobbins is full disposal. I think I got this love-hate relationship with him, but I think they're gonna have a really good game. I think if they are to have a good game, it's gonna be because of the opportunities that Lamar is gonna present for him to have those yards per carry. I think Dobbins is a good play. I just can't name a receiver because I think they all figure to play some type of part of the game. but we know Andrews is the tried and true for this matchup.
I want to add real quick though.
Mhm.
If Dobbins can't get it done this game, he can't get it done. I mean, because
Right.
Houston
This is
is
true.
like homecoming for everybody when it comes to running backs. You know what I mean? But on the other side, Damian Pierce, I don't think he would do well. I know that Ravens front is pretty good. They added Jadeveon, who's actually one of the better run stopping DNs in the game. But I
Facts.
do think Tank Dell, I think he has his coming out party because that secondary is got some holes in it. I think he has his coming out party this weekend.
We got Cincinnati going up against Cleveland, which is one of my favorite games of the week. My Ohio teams. I got a 47-point over-under here, and we're looking at a 2.5-point spread with Cleveland getting the 2.5. How do you see this one shaking out, Vander?
I think this is a tough game, actually. Both of these defenses are they play each other pretty tough.
Yeah.
You got Chase, you got Denzel Ward, you got Mixon, you got Chubb. And if you look at the games from last year, they actually held each other in check when they played each other. Chubb didn't have crazy games. Mixon didn't have crazy games. Even Burrow games were like mid-tier, you know what I'm saying? So this game is going to be I think it's going to be a close game. Fantasy implications, you got to play your studs, of course.
Right.
But I don't see anybody breaking out, as far as DFS, anybody I think there's a lot of other better plays in the league this year or this week than this game. But I think it's going to be a tough game. But if you got to fire up your people as usual. But I think you should temper your expectations when it comes to all players in this game. Again, we want to see if Watson just put up or shut up. You got something in the tank. What is it going to be?
Yeah.
For Watson. So
we got Jacksonville going up against Indy. This one is a 45.5-point over under. And Indy is getting 4.5 points. What you got on this one, Joe?
Yeah, I think there's going to be an interesting matchup. This might be a good matchup to kind of get Jacksonville defense while they aren't who we know, who we're going to think them to be. I think overall, Jacksonville had an impressive defense. I think, honestly, they got a chance to be a top 15 defense yet again or come close to top 10. But I don't think it's going to start this week. I think it's something that's going to build up over time. With them taking advantage of having Walker out there, and then the first-round pick from last year's draft. This is going to be a good game and a good test for AR. I think he's going to do relatively well. I think, again, this as it stands today, I think before they play off Jacksonville, this should be a fair auto for him to kind of go in an up-tempo matchup. This game can go either way. Either Jacksonville going to put up close to 40 on them, and it's a complete blowout, or it's going to be fairly competitive. So that's what makes it most interesting. But looking at Jacksonville on the other side, man, we already know Ridley, so we're not going to speak on Ridley as much. Evan Ingram, you got to play all your studs. I think that's the phrase that we love to say. Play all your studs. And I'm curious about ETN. To me, ETN played fairly well, but I want to see if he learned from his lessons. Is he going to be decisive with running the ball? Is he going to get those cheap yards, or is he going to continue to try to go for those big plays? I want to see how in that backfield it works out with our guy Bigsby. How does he factor into this offense week one? And what kind of relationship do they have? What kind of carry, what kind of split it is going to week one? But I love all of the Jacksonville. I think AR has a good opportunity week one.
My thing real quick on that, though, as far as the Colts, if they get down, this team ain't built to come back. So I'm curious to see how Richardson looks if they get down 17 and he's forced to throw the ball. I don't know how that's going to look.
I don't think it'll be pretty. We got San Fran going up against Pittsburgh. This one is a 41.5-point over-under, only a 2-point spread, and Pittsburgh is getting the points. So Vegas expects this one to come down to a field goal, give or take. Vander, what you got on your squad, man?
You give me all these ugly games, man. Like, this is another one, man. I can't really speak on nobody. Not much fantasy implications, I think. I mean, Pittsburgh, if you watch their offseason, man, they had added a lot of people. Like, they got a lot of people added to their off-season program. And then the 49ers, of course, the defense that comes in. We got Pickett, who can be vulnerable, and now we got Purdy come off an injury. People are concerned and say how he's going to look. Didn't look good in joint practices. We playing against the Raiders, and he was throwing 3-4 picks. I mean, so
right.
I don't know. I think it's going to be another. Again, Vegas saying it's going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be close. But fantasy implications, I guess you must play your guys. If you got McCaffrey, you can't bench him. You got Najee Harris, you can't bench him. But temper. I don't see anybody.
Do you bench the wide receivers?
You can't. Because where you drafted these guys at, where you probably drafted Deontay, he could be your third wide receiver on your team. Maybe he's your second wide receiver. George Pickens, he's going to get one of those outstanding plays, maybe a 40, 50-yard catch. He catch with his pinky finger or something.
Right.
But I think it's going to be some of those type of things, but nothing like consistent. Going to be a few big plays, but no consistent offense moving. Najee Harris, where's he going to go? He already still come off the plantar
fasciitis.
Yeah, he got that joint going on playing against this run defense. So I don't really look for him to do much. So I think it's just you got to play Debo, you got to play Ayuk, of course. But I don't see anybody being like league leaders out of this game this week.
Now, this is the lowest over-under of the week at 37.5. We have Arizona going up against Washington, and Arizona is getting a full touchdown, 7 points. What you got on this matchup, Joe?
Man, I'm trying to think about what's left on Arizona to talk about. And I think honestly, I think we're gonna see Young get his money, man. They declined this man 5th-year option. I think and they have already had a stout front four, in my opinion, in football. I think it's going to be a really good game for them to kind of test themselves against an anemic offense. And then on the opposite side of Arizona, their defense is garbage. So I think this is going to be a game that's going to get out of hand. I think, honestly, when you look on the other side of the ball, I think even with a turf toe, I think you're going to get a lot out of McLaurin. Like, to me personally, McLaurin, we already know his stature as far as in football, but you're not playing comfortably. You're not confidently playing week one, especially someone of his skill set, unless you know that this injury won't be as lingering as it once was. I think he's going to play to expectations. I like this the mixture of everybody. They get everybody involved here. Antonio Gibson, man, it's like I love Brandon Robinson, but it's just what his skill set is going to be, and I think how he feels in this offense in the interim. It's almost like Jerick McKinnon, in my personal opinion. I think he can have a really solid game, and I do like the tight ends as well too. For Red, you can get anybody. I think with this one, you had to build a core for DFS. You can definitely pick people from the Redskins and just get creative because, damn, I mean, Budda Baker is nice, but Budda Baker can't play 10 other positions. You know what I mean? We might as well just get to work, have fun with this one and kind of build around this one if you want to do DFS.
2 corrections. Brian Robinson, the Commanders.
Right.
You said Brandon and the Redskins, so I'm just putting that out there.
Oh, bro. Man, we know what that team was.
But look, though, Joe, let me ask you this. Would you say that if the Commanders can't put up points this week, that you have to kind of give the side eye to them for the rest of the year? Because I don't think they play a much easier defense than what they're going to play this week.
Facts. I think honestly what I really liked about looking at Bieniemy and what he wanted to do, a lot of these throws that Howell was able to make, and this is not calling him Mahomes at all, but it's really reminiscent when you look at preseason some of these throws. Like he don't care where you want him to throw it. Is it 60 yards? Is it 65 yards? Is it off platform? Do we move with it? You can get as creative as you want with this guy. So, like, to your point, if you can't do it against Arizona, where you should have every opportunity to do whatever you want as far as play calling, I don't think you can do it anywhere, any other time. This is easy as it gets, to your point.
The second highest over-under at 51.5 is Miami going up against the Chargers. This is only a 3-point spread, and Miami is getting the 3 points. So the Chargers are expected to win. What you got on this one, Vander?
Oh, you spoke on the guy earlier, Raheem Mostert. I love him. in this game. The Chargers are not really good against the run.
Right.
And being that he was the only back, well, there's only 2 backs healthy now. Kane, and they got him listed as the 3rd running back. I think Mostert gets a healthy serving this game. He's not a running back that you see really get a lot of carries, though. He usually get 12 carries and get hurt.
And take one to the house, though, because he's faster than everybody else on the field.
So I do like him in this game. We finally get a chance to see what's my coordinator, new coordinator in San Diego.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. I think his offense is going to be on full display this game. Play Eckler, of course. You just got to play all your studs in this game. I mean, Tyreek, Waddle, the whole shebang. I love everybody in this game. But my eyes will be on Tua. You know, let's see if he can last. You know what I mean?
Let's see if the judo helps out.
Right. Let's see if he can last. I mean, because I honestly think we're going to see Mike White sometime this year.
I can see
early,
that. I can see that.
Late, but I think he's going to play.
And it might not even be a concussion.
No, it's definitely going to be one of those.
You think?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be one of them. And what else could it be? I don't think there'll be no other injury like an elbow or knee or nothing like that. He going to get Errol Spence. If he out there on that field and he come out, it's because he punched drunk. I promise you that. So, but everybody, man, deploy everybody in this game.
We got Vegas going up against Denver. This is a 44-point over-under, and Vegas is getting 3.5 points. So what do you like? What do you don't like in this one? What you got for me, Joe?
I think Davante Adams. I don't know. This is a good him versus Surtain. So I had to remember the matchup now. Surtain had him on clamps last year. I think this is gonna be a good matchup, man. I think this is gonna be a good matchup. It's weird to say this. I'm trying to not say it, but I think Jimmy G is gonna be fairly good this year. If he's healthy
until he get hurt. I agree.
Right.
You'll be fine until
he get hurt. You can definitely get hurt this game. I think this is gonna be a fairly good game. I really would want to know a lot more about Josh Jacobs. I mean, to me, he's one of those people that I think he's a good to go. I think he's gonna get his regular workload, but on offense, I mean, off volume alone, I think Davante Adams, you have to play him. No way around it. And then after that, you got to get creative. The same thing with Jacobs, right? So you got to start those two. Other than that, I don't have really much to say as far as on that side with the Raiders. But then switching the other side of the ball, man, I think it's gonna be a really good game. I think this is really telling for me. Like everybody can say whatever they want last year. Russell, can you be the franchise quarterback against a dismal Raiders? Can you finally play good in the second outings against the Raiders? I love Sutton. We always gotta love Sutton. I think honestly, you can play Javonte Williams. I really think he's going to be ready to go and have a really good game this week. Same thing with P-Ron. I think you got to play both running backs respectfully. I even like Dolce. I think Dolce honestly is going to play a factor really much into this offense. I know they got Troutman this past offseason, but getting rid of Albert O and kind of limiting the marquee names you have at that position. Right. They kind of already got in mind who was going to be that guy at the tight end position, so I would lean into him. And then Marvin Mims. I think, honestly, Judy is telling that he's playing in a limited capacity. He's practicing already, something that we thought was going to linger, a few weeks or at least 4 weeks into the season. I think he might be good for week 2, if not be questionable coming into this Sunday. But I like Mims, of course. I think Mims is a special guy that we can see. He got an opportunity to catch it and take it to the house. Man. I really like his skill set, and it plays into this matchup where, again, I think it's going to be fairly competitive again in the game, but I think Denver can close it out. Definitely.
Real quick, man. Davante torched these boys last year. Both games.
Davante. Well, I mean, when matched up against Surtain, that was a good matchup. Surtain held his own. I don't think he gave up a touchdown. Surtain in that matchup.
Well, who is he catching them touchdowns against then? Because he
whoever that other guy is.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because Surtain plays he plays out of phase. He don't play in phase. He don't follow nobody.
Oh well, shit, that don't mean nothing then. At that point, if that's the case,
they're gonna put him on the other side.
So,
if I know you're gonna stay over there, I'm gonna go over here.
For sure. Like Devon, I don't care who the corner is, man. That boy there.
He different.
Yeah.
Boy, that
We got
problem.
the closest spread with Green Bay versus Chicago. And this is a game I'm really looking forward to. In division, I think that division is up for grabs. We got a 42-point over-under, only a 1-point spread, and Green Bay is actually getting the point. What do we like? What do we don't like in this matchup, Andy?
We love the running game for Green Bay, right? They definitely did a number on Chicago last year. Aaron Jones had like a 30-point fantasy night against them last year in one game. So I do love Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon this game. Chicago side, again, we want to see what Fields comes out. Is he going to be able to, he has this new weapon in DJ Moore, who I love this game.
Absolutely.
But this is my thing. I wonder, you talk about in phase and out of phase. That boy in Green Bay, he falling into the bathroom.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I'm curious to see how that match.
I like how they get the ball to Moore though, because they'll get them to him. Look, they'll throw them 2 yards behind scrimmage and let them do something with it. Versus, it always been a deep ball. So I can kind of see them, kind of already knowing that the two teams know each other well enough to know, how to attempt to take advantage. So I mean, I don't know. That'll be kind
they
of
have to, because that dude he got a chip on his shoulder in Green Bay. He's one of those guys. I feel like he's one of the best corners in the league, and he's always down to prove it. So I'm curious to see that matchup between those two. But the one thing I'm really curious in watching is, how is this three-headed monster that Chicago has? How does that going to look? Of course.
Oh, the run game.
Correct. Foreman is not looking too tough. It looks like Herbert is the guy. But
Right.
then, you know what I'm saying? But then again, you got the rookie, Roshan or whatever.
He didn't look too tough, though. I was expecting more out of him in preseason, but I mean, it was preseason, but I don't know. He just looked regular.
He's the strongest out of the three as far as like pass pro. So for that alone, I think that could get him on the field. You know what I mean? So I just want to see how it all looks. But I like Herbert. If I had to choose one of the three, I would go with Herbert this game. But this is a good one. It's a pretty good game.
We got Philly going up against New England. This is a 45-point over-under, and New England is getting 4 points in this one. Watch your mouth, Joe.
Honestly, I'm staying away from I'm honestly staying away from New England. I mean, honestly, let me say this. I think Ramondre, just his skill set alone, you really can't put this kid in a vacuum. Like, even going against Philadelphia's defense, I like Ramondre still a lot. It's just a lot to be desired, because I think, to some extent I feel like New England will be able to matriculate the ball, but I don't know what that looks like. I mean, of course they get the, like the OC and everything. I think it does lean to Mac Jones, but Eagles is loaded, man. Like, even with all they lost, what they was able to bring
replaced
back
it in the draft. Yeah,
Jesus
for real.
Christ, and Carter's, he's talking about somebody who is ready to kind of live up to the billing. I think, honestly, we might be looking at defensive rookie of the year right there. 12 sacks, put him down. He good for it. I think it's gonna be a good pace game, but I don't know, man. I think obviously you still got to play all your studs with the Eagles. If I had to lean somebody from New England, again, I would still go to Stevens. If I had to throw another name, not Stevens, out there, I mean, if they were to score, it got to be between the backfields, Zeke or Stevens. I think.
You know who I'm looking at in this game that people aren't going to be paying attention to, that I think could possibly work out for DFS? Your boy Bourne. No.
Oh, what? I thought you were going to say Gesicki.
Nah, I'm thinking the reason I say Bourne is because he's not going to be owned by pretty much anybody. But if they utilize him in the same or similar way that they were utilizing Myers, I mean, but Bourne kind of came on last year a little bit. And I believe that right now, of the wide receivers that we have, Thornton, they were talking about him going to IR. So I know he ain't close to healthy. They're talking about Juju's knee can explode any day now. So, I mean, like, he's it. Like, it's him and the tight ends. And I think he'll really get a decent amount of targets. So I think Bourne in the PPR situation, last ditch effort. I think he can kind of hold it in the road for you, possibly be the guy to break it out for a touchdown as far as pass catches are concerned.
The only thing with that I just want to add though is they got Bradbury, who was impeccable on the outside. He's moving into the slot. And you got Darius Slay, and nobody on New England wide receiver core striking fear in me to where I can lean on him like that. But I do agree with you, Bourne. I think Bourne is really underrated. I think he's been underrated since going back from San Francisco. He does stand out to me in this matchup as well. With all injuries is concerned, he's up there. Honestly, you got to put him out there.
You got the Rams going up against Seattle. This is a 45.5 point over under, and the Rams are getting 5 points. What are we doing with this one, Vander?
This is one of my favorite DFS plays of the week.
Okay.
DK Metcalf. If he don't get 200 yards receivers this game, he ain't gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this secondary may be one of the worst secondaries that's left. You know what I'm saying? No more Jalen Ramsey. He's gone. So who's gonna follow this dude around?
True.
I mean,
I don't even know who their number one cornerback is now, actually, to be honest with you.
It could be my guy from South Carolina State. He's there. He's gonna probably get some Durant. He probably will get him some burn this year as well. He's a good corner, but DK is a machine. I definitely see Geno, play Geno. Hell, do you align with Geno, DK, and Lockett? Play them all together. Hell, JSN too, just play the whole game. But I do think this is a game where Cam Akers gets off.
Okay.
I don't see a pass game working for the Rams. I mean, we all see Stafford. He's 0 in on cut when he's there. He's not there.
He ain't there.
Gang hasn't shown me anything. Puka just got there. DeMarcus just got there. Higbee. So I really think this is one of those games they're going to really showcase Cam Akers. He should get 25 touches this game. So I do like Cam Akers as well as a DFS play. He's one of my favorite running backs for the week because Seattle can't stop a nosebleed. Joe, you know that. But that's how I go. One team can't stop the pass, and one team not going to be able to stop the run. So it's some really good plays in this game.
We got the Sunday night game. Dallas going up against the Giants. This is a 46.5 point over under, and the Giants are getting 3 points. What we got, Joe?
I like this, man. But I like this because I think, honestly, I want to see what this offense look like with McCarthy now calling plays, because I wasn't a fan of him towards his last few years in Green Bay, to be honest with you.
Right.
We do know that his offense is pass heavy. This man, he's gonna run into the dirt with his passing. I love pop.
Is it though? Is his offense pass heavy, or did he just have a quarterback that wouldn't allow him to run the ball?
You know what? I don't know, but
because
we going by numbers.
LaFleur's offense is run heavy. But they threw the ball a whole lot because of who was their quarterback. So I'm just asking.
I mean, just going by the numbers, because he been blessed to have him for quite some time. He's truly pass heavy. And I don't think that's going to change with Dak. You got Dak, a healthy Gallup that's a few years now removed from that for this injury. Brandon Cooks. I like both of their tight ends, whether it's Ferguson or the guy Shoemaker. I know he's still making his way back from injury, but just the names itself, I think it lends itself to still being a pass happy team. And then Pollard is a great weapon out of the backfield. So I like all the weapons from both sides of the field. I really like Pollard. I know they got Dexter Lawrence. I know they got Tibb. I know they made several moves, but if somebody's going to really dictate the pace and which direction this game's going to go, they're going to have to lean to Pollard to kind of carry this team and kind of be that focal point of this offense. And to get the CeeDee Lamb part of it, what I mean by that is CeeDee Lamb he can get anywhere. They're gonna move him around, and I love that about him now. That as opposed to being just an outside receiver, they moved him a lot around. I hope they keep that part of the offense because I don't think nobody on the Giants can stop him at this point. They don't have any DBs of note or even name state that can really lend themselves to stopping them and containing them. As far as the Giants, I don't know. Cowboys defense is different. I know it don't sound right because every year they got it wrong. But I think what they did, this year, getting Mizzy and everybody else on their defensive line together, just some of the moves they made. I think it's gonna be a close, competitive game. But got to go back to Barkley. Got to go to Darren Waller. Who else? Well, how are we not going to talk about Darren Waller? I just think it's a game of attrition where I think Daniel Jones is going to run it in himself. He's going to take it upon himself and play really good football because, again, I think that pass rush is there now with the Cowboys more so than it was last year and years past with all these additions. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I just wish we had a wide receiver of note other than Waller that we can just point our hands to because they treat everybody the same from Shepard to Wandell at this point. I think Hyatt at some point can have a very good role later on in the season, but it's 7 receivers that's on this roster that can, get some type of touches in this offense.
And we also see Michael Parsons full-time DN.
They made that move that he's a full-time DN now?
Full-time.
Interesting.
So Dan Jones may be running a lot.
Fact.
Last matchup, go ahead and round us out, Vander. We have a 46-point over-under, and the New York Jets are getting 2.5 points going up against the Buffalo Bills. I'm definitely interested to see this one on Monday evening. If the Jets don't win this game and they start out with the L, I just kind of feel like the Jets are one of those teams that the trajectory can be way up or it can end up going sideways kind of quickly, just depending on what happens. Mm-hmm. What you got on this one?
Man, this is gonna be a game to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
But then again, I mean, Stephon Diggs owners, you know who on the other side, right?
Yeah, good point.
I think last year, Stephon, the very first play of the game, he got him. Then after that
was it.
He got nothing else. You know what I mean?
So you think this is a Gabe Davis type of game?
Oh, that boy Reed on the other side, he ain't no slouch either.
Yeah, Reed is crazy.
So
he got speed to him too.
I think this is a Kincaid game, the rookie. I think he's gonna come out and show something this game. Everybody been talking about him all season, how he run routes. He's like the next Kelsey and all this and all that jazz. But I think he'll be the guy that can actually get some motion going because on the outside, I think those guys are going to have their hands full. This defensive front's pretty good. So I think the run game is going to be a little slower. So I definitely think Kincaid, I think it's going to be a tight end kind of game. Maybe Dawson to get some love. I can see Kincaid having a breakout right out the gate. And on the other side, man, Garrett Wilson, fire him up. Nobody in the secondary is I'm scared of on this Bills team. Now before they used to have they still got my guy, but he didn't battle a lot of injuries lately. They
talking about White?
Yeah, Tre'Davious.
Yeah.
But they've been banged up a lot lately.
They have the safeties too.
Yeah. And no Von Miller. So the pass
they didn't put him on IR. He should be back in a game or two or something like that. I thought he might have been. That's kind of scary to me because he didn't have plenty of time to recover. So I don't know what's going on with Von.
So with this New York Jets offensive line not being the very best, it's good to have him not on the field. So I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna have some fun. I think him and Garrett gonna show out. Another thing, they didn't sign him, but they did give Kenny Golladay a trial today.
Which team?
The Jets.
The Jets. Okay, I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting move. Maybe Kenny got something in the tank. Maybe he can revive that with Aaron Rodgers. So let's wait and see on that. But I thought also, like you said earlier, I think Dalvin Cook will get a little more love than Breece Hall this game.
Yeah.
As far as the run game is concerned. But I think the Jets are going to come out and show something this game. I really do.
And that pretty much wraps it up for this week. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Fantasy Football Fiend, FEIN. For this week, we out.